Mr. Spicer, what is on your playlist this week?
2 games this week I want to talk about. I want to start with S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. I was provided a code for this game. I was playing on Steam. It is also available on Game Pass. I got my code pretty dang close to when the game went wide and went into release. I didn't have tons of time to play before it went wide to everybody. What side? There's 2 sides to this coin. I'll start with the launched with a lot of bugs side, or was given to press with a lot of bugs. We talked about this briefly, Jeff, on one of the shorts we did on YouTube and on Instagram that we put out on, I think they go out on Wednesdays and Fridays. We talked about it a little bit there. S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 was given to media press in a fairly rough shape. So I've put maybe 4 or 5 hours into S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. 2 of those hours have been nuked from existence. They don't exist anymore.
That's very thematic for the game, though. Nuked them.
You're supposed to show up well after the nuke has happened, which is what I'd recommend doing for S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 as well. And so it was rough. I'm playing on, I have a beefy GP. I have a pretty high-end PC. I'm playing on Steam. And so like I talked about for my hands-on with Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, it's hard for me to talk about S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 outside of talking about my experiences playing it for review. And it was rough. Very early in the game, still in the tutorial, you're collecting this artifact and it guides you right how to do it. It tells you to do it. There's the thing you pick up and you do it. And for me, the thing I was picking up just did not spawn in the world. I was texting friends that I knew had early copies of it. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Because I know I can't pull up a Let's Play. I can't find a video. I can't read a guide. And they're like, no, you follow your thing and it's there. And I'm like,
just pick it up, dude. Just pick it up.
I'm sending screenshots. Like, yeah, it's kind of hard. Kind of blends in with the environment. And I'm like, my controller's vibrating. The light on it's like, it has, everything else about it is there, but there's just no item in the world. And I'm like, am I an idiot? Do I suck at games or something's wrong, right? Like this.
Well, those don't have to be mutually exclusive.
That is true. Something can be wrong. And that thing that is wrong is how bad I suck at games. But like I had my kids come in. I was like, kids, I need your eyesight. Is there anything? Do you see anything? And it was
like, Daddy, it's horrible. It's all post-apocalyptic. You're like, no, focus.
Dad, it's really bad. It's gray and thinning. Quit looking at the back of my head and look at the video game, kids. And so I completely deleted the game. I re-downloaded. It's like 140 gigs. Restarted my saves, wiped everything, started again. I was able to progress past that point, but woo dog, that was frustrating. Then throughout I guess whatever is 3 hours of actual playtime of the game, numerous hard crashes, like back to desktop on PC. I'm certainly not the only person who has experienced numerous bugs with S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, and that's a real bummer. So with that part of it out of the way, let me talk about the other part of it. This game feels exciting in a way that few games do today. I have to recommend you wait for more patches, I think, in terms of getting the best experience for S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, as I think the original S.T.A.L.K.E.R was that way as well. Over the decade, after its release, it became this bigger, polished, modded, community-driven game. And I think there's a real good chance that S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 will be the same, but hopefully in a shorter amount of time. Jeff and Patrick, this game feels exciting to me in a way that we talked about Sony looking to acquire FromSoft. S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 feels exciting to me in a way that Elden Ring, Demon's Souls, Bloodborne, those From games felt exciting to the third-person action combat RPG genre. There is room for total disaster and mistakes around every corner. The environment is brutal and difficult, and everything has this weight to it that is important. And it marries this idea of I think what we now would attribute to a FromSoft style game of purposefully obtuse menus, resource management, harsh, terrifying world where one mistake can set you back, with a very compelling narrative. Again, as FromSoft games, I think, often do. They rely on gothic horror, and S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 relies on some of that, some like monster, creature horror, but also just horror of mankind and the idea that a lot of zombie movies go to and zombie TV shows of like, we are the Walking Dead, right? Like we are the bad people, warring factions within this hellscape zone of existence and trying to just make your way through it. And so I feel like for me, as someone who really latches on narrative, this game, from what I've played of it so far, it doesn't suffer from, the Fallout 4 problem, air quote, of like, go save your son, but also run this bar for 2 weeks if you want. It kind of presents the world of this conflict in these different groups within it and how you're going to make your way trying to get this thing back and trying to figure out your existence because you have nothing. How are you going to rebuild your life? This event happened that basically took everything from you. How are you going to rebuild your life and make your way through this world? Really fascinating. And it marries that with, dare I say, but the hardcore survival type game of Rust or something like that has really been popularized by folks tinkering with the systems and poking at it and seeing what you can do to survive. And so I think S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 is going to be a home run. I think, unfortunately, it launched in a state that would have been better launching as early access instead of this is our 1.0 release or whatever you want to call it. But when it's not hard crashing and it's doing things right, I mean, it feels exciting in a way that Bloodborne did for me. Like there is something here that's super dangerous and super compelling. And I really hope they're able to patch this quick because I think this game, I mean, I think it sold over 1 million copies already.
Yeah. It's
but I think
going like gangbusters, huge concurrence on Steam. Lots of people into it.
I think it can be bigger. I really think that this could be, the FromSoft of the first person style game. And I think we'll see people looking to S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, which is very much a continuation of S.T.A.L.K.E.R, the OG Stalkers, but looking at S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 as inspiration, as what is possible in this narrative-driven, open-world, first-person game. It feels revelatory, and I think since like Far Cry 3 or something like that, it's super exciting, and it's bummer that it's in its rough shape right now. Did either of you jump in on Game Pass or give it a shot?
I have not checked it out. I just had heard all of the performance problems, and so I stayed away. But I'm curious. I'm curious to give it a look. See,
it's even more impressive given the conditions under which it was developed. Right.
Yeah. Right.
That it's that impressive.
Point. But yeah, great point.
Yeah.